Tim, I'm sure there's going to be some Pedals and Effects fans who would love to know more about the history of what you've done. I know that I remember seeing you. You guys believe? I remember seeing Tim on Saturday Night Live.
Ah, yes.
So how long did you play on this?
I subbed for James Genius for like 8 years, like 2001 to 2009. Basically.
Yeah.
So I did like 4 episodes a year. It was fun though.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
so it's all reading.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and so just also, can you tell everybody, because like the thing is, like a lot of times, if most of the time, I have dudes who are rock dudes, and we don't really have like that same kind of education that you had on the instrument. So did you go to a music school?
No, I didn't actually, but my dad was a music teacher. He was like a middle school music teacher. So I was, and my high school program was pretty strong. So like I always knew how to read and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, like nowadays stuff, it's not essential that you know how to read like great,
Right.
Because most of the music, I mean, very little, like if you are going to play in a film score, yeah, it'd be helpful to be able to read.
For
It's
sure.
actually essential, unless you're just making shit up, which happens. So,
Right.
but it's become less and less important. But because also those kind of gigs are becoming less and less.
You were in that New York scene for a while, right?
Yeah.
And then you moved here 3 years ago?
Yeah, 2011. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so main reason why you moved to Los Angeles? Change? What?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I kind of been out here to do a couple. Like I played on Ocean's 12 and stuff like that. So I was out here for a couple months at a time, and I loved it. Just like the kind of like laid back, like New York's a hard place to live. It's pretty intense, and so there was that, like just how difficult it is to live there, and I sort of saw the walls closing in on work for me. I mean, that's as soon as you offend the wrong people, like you can get done in because it's so it's like. There's a lot of musicians there and not much work. There's much more work out here, I think.
Right.
Just like, it's not even like official, movie scores. But there's just a lot of people doing records. So that can keep you busy, and records don't pay what they used to, but, it's still, there's a lot of work, it'll put food on your table.
And then what do you do, and you're playing with?
In the Tedeschi Trucks Band,
Yes.
which is Derek Trucks and Susan Tedeschi's.
So I remember hearing about that. It was O'Teal who was playing before you, and I remember reading that he was like he couldn't keep up with their touring, and then you got in this, and it's like I follow you on Twitter and Instagram. I'm like, this dude is constantly out. So they really grind it out there, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect for a bachelor like myself. No, but the thing is like that's where. A lot of I think some of them, people don't sell records anymore, so it's like that's how you have to make a living. And they have a strong base because it's based on like that kind of southern rock jam circle, and so like people wanted, we haven't done a non-sold out show in a bit. I mean, there's been a couple, but not many.
Right.
Plus, the Allman Brothers are folding up camp as far as I know, or at least Warren and Derek are leaving. So,
Wow.
It's kind of gonna be like. Government Mule and Tedeschi Trucks Band are going to kind of pick up the mantle, I think.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it should be cool.
Good for you guys. What I was going to go into, though, is that, I had Troy from Beat Music. I know Mark Giuliano, the drummer, this is, the driving force.
You did a project with him, right?
I also have made a record. It's getting mixed right now, but it's Mark on drums, myself on bass, and then my friend Sugar, who plays in a band called Buffalo Daughter. She plays guitar, and it's all instrumental at this point. We were thinking about putting vocal. We decided just get it out because it was 2 years ago. So
right.
It's getting mixed right now. But yes, Mark's a good friend of mine, awesome drummer, and you guys have this unbelievable improv record called Beat Music LA Improvisations.
Right.
And I interviewed Troy Ward, but I gotta just say, man, those bass lines you do on that are so hooky, so like Mike Elizondo hip hop awesomeness. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice.
And so I really want to know Troy couldn't really explain what you did because he was like, it was just so improv. And everybody's kind of doing stuff, so it's hard to say what. So what instrument did you play? And so
I played a couple of things. I played my Moulin, my Sonic Blue Moulin, which has flat ones, and I also played. I have a Guild Starfire copy with a legitimate, actually like vintage pickups on it. So it's basically an old Starfire.
Right.
So a lot of it was a Starfire.
Awesome.
So basically, a lot of it was detuned stuff, like some of the weird.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think what the grooves. I mean, yeah, there's a couple of them I like. I actually was so jet lagged when I did it. I don't remember. I didn't remember anything until the record came out. I was like, what? And the cool thing is Steve Wall did such a great job mixing it that it just sounds. I don't remember the sounds being that so punchy and awesome.
I mean, perfectly balanced. Like
Yeah.
you get wild records like that, like, and sometimes you're just like, they're really great music in there, but it just the way it sits in the your system. It's just kind of, you gotta kind of EQ it so you can
Yeah.
hear it how you want.
Right.
That record I pop in the car at my house, it's awesome.
Right.
But anyway, so I'd say, what was the effects? Do you remember what you were in, or?
Yeah, basically a lot of stuff that I showed you.
Right.
Like for the ambient stuff, I was using the RE20 and the ring. I was always using the electro-harmonics frequency. Yeah, the octave. The octave stuff. Some distortion, a little distortion.
Right.
I don't think I had the tremolo on that thing, so I don't think I brought it.
I don't remember hearing
think
it.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of it was just using this kind of thing. Circuit, fucking Ocean's 12 meets, high on heroin. Doing a lot of stuff like when I was, a lot of the groups came. Because I'm like into atonality, like, because actually a lot of the old hip hop records in the 90s,
Right.
like, Def Jam and shit, a lot of that stuff was completely atonal.
Right.
So like I have no problem, making weird vamp stuff. It doesn't,
It would have to be some sampled 60s bass,
Yeah, I mean, it's always great, but I think that the key is that it's sort of, don't be afraid, like rhythmically it should be interesting, but it doesn't have to be a pitch thing necessarily.
Right. No, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So many of those, like, I actually did it.
That's what drum and bass was like that,
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of it was just like dropped 808s that had nothing to do with harmonically with what the track was. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, right. I mean, it really grabs people, it touches people. I mean, I did an article for one of the bass guitar magazine, and literally they were like, we want you to do your favorite bass lines, and all my bass lines were hip hop bass lines. They were Dr. Dre lines, and you get these weird outside notes because they were just like, I just imagined them going, man, I want it to sound spooky, trippy, weird, and anything really just diatonic would be just too square. So they're using all this outside note stuff, and you're just like, whoa, and then you're just like, but it's super musical because the timing of it or whatever. But like, yeah, I love all that hip hop stuff. So and then I also love I love no wave. So I'm always ready to go down that.
That's awesome. No, yeah, some of my favorite lines have been edited. I just like, oh fuck, like a combination of, you know what I mean? Like it's like that's something necessarily anybody played. It's just like they just chopped it together that way. It's pretty weird.
So any bass players influence you like when you're coming up?
I mean, it depended on what the genre was. Like, if I was, there's the electronic keyboard, like whoever hip hop producers or drum bass, like all the electronic producers. And so there was them, but then like as players, I mean, it was like, as a kid, it was like, Michael Anthony, Geddy Lee, and, the usual guys, guy in back, in AC/DC.
Right.
But then, like, I got turned on to, like, Daryl Jones was a pretty heavy influence for me.
Wow.
Yeah, because, like, in the 80s, he was playing I was big into Miles Davis, so, like, post Marcus Miller was too. But, like, post Marcus, it was Daryl.
Right.
And also Victor Bailey, too. But not with Miles, but Victor Bailey was another influence. But Daryl, like, really blew my mind on a lot of levels,
I know he played on like the Sting stuff, and I knew he played with
Miles,
and he played with Miles, but
yeah,
I don't know. Like, is there a lot of fusion records that he's on? Like
it's not those. It was one of the Sting records.
Okay.
I was just like listening to like the kind of commitment to all this stuff, you know, because he played bass on that first Sting solo record too, and I just like the commitment how he was playing pop music because he, on the Miles records he's just. Thumbing and it just sounds like he's beating the shit out of the bass. And he probably kind of was, like, I don't know. I mean, these guys, it's funny if you ask them now, it's just like, they don't either don't want to talk about it or they, it was so long ago.
One more thing I wanted to get in is you're on the cover of Bass Player magazine, and a lot of it had to do because of that Wayne Krantz record that you just did?
The interview kind of was steered that way, but I mean, since I joined Tedeschi Trucks Band, my profile's kind of gone up in different circles. It's getting bigger,
Sure.
It's It's amazing how that works.
Sure.
I mean, it's a fun ass band. It's a fucking great band. I love it. You know,
Awesome.
it's just it's done a lot of things for my visibility. So I think that had a lot to do with it.
I definitely I got on the cover because of Mars Volta. Is like if I wasn't in Mars Volta, I wouldn't have got on that cover.
Yeah.
Even though I've been playing bass, very similarly for so many years. It's like it gets people, and then you're more interesting to somebody because they want to know.
Right, and they can identify. It's also kind of a hot band right now, so
right,
you know, so it's kind of interesting to a lot of people. So
yeah, so it's
and Derek Trucks is legendary. He's fucking.
I know so many dudes who was just like even like we were talking about Isaiah Mitchell. He was like, that dude's awesome.
He really is.
Yeah,
he really is. I played with some great guitar players over the years. You know, it's like this guy can hang with any of them. Like just his solos. He just weaves these solos that are, I mean,
awesome.
Yeah, make your hair stand on end. Really,
and the Wayne Cranch record, what label's it on?
He's kind of been, well, now he's on Abstract Logics. There's a new one coming out in November. It's called Good Piranha, Bad Piranha.
Okay.
And it's a combination. It's kind of fun actually. Wayne, this is Nate Wood, right?
Yeah.
Drummer, bass player. Yeah. Well, he's playing bass with Keith Carlock on the first half of the record, and then drums on the second half of the record. And I'm playing bass on it.
Awesome.
It's pretty rad.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nice. And then Wayne to me is like an amazing editor. You know, like he kind of started doing like the cut and paste stuff. Like the first guy that I knew of in that genre that was doing it was like we did this record Greenwich Mean like back in it was '98 or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Just basically DATs. Love live recordings, and he just started cutting the shit up like tempos, switches, and it was pretty rad.
Zappa stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty rad.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Thank you for being on.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yes.